Welcome to this edition of the Million Dollar Mastermind podcast. This is where we pick the brains of high achievers from all walks of life and get their hard-earned, real-world insights on winning. I'm your host, Larry Weidel. What did your boys come back talking about from that 5-day trip?
Well, certainly a lot of swear words. We were talking about South Park and Rick and Morty and letting them watch things that my wife would never do. I actually posted, I wish I had it in front of me. I posted 5 or 6 things we learned from the baseball trip. I can try and find it. I posted on social media after it happened. You want me to try and look for it? I can.
Sure. Using social media, you using what? Instagram,
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Facebook.
How do people find you on Instagram?
Oh, Justin Breen on.
Yeah, Justin Breen.
Yeah. I did. So I took so what I do every day on LinkedIn, Monday through Friday, I do a grateful journal. So like things, and I'll include this and that. But I was posting every day, like photos from each day. I'll try and find. I'm sorry, I can't find it right immediately. But like, what they learned was, and what we talked about, because we drove that all this freedom that I have and that our family has from this entrepreneur life, and that I can take them basically wherever I want, whenever I want, around the country. And all the freedom that it creates. That was the main lesson. It was interesting because we went to major league parks, AAA, AA, and single A, and even college summer league. And it was very interesting to see how baseball was still the center of towns, regardless if they were big or small. That baseball was still king in a lot of these towns. It was a social fabric of society. It was super interesting to see that. And then they got to see how people in different cities lived, because it's kind of like a bubble here in the North Shore of Chicago. It's pretty, upper middle class, affluent area. So it was interesting for them to see how, farmers live, or very rural or very poor. We saw a lot of homeless people in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And so it's just very good life lessons. You got to do a lot of rock climbing and nature trail hiking as well. So those are the kind of memories that are created that you can't replicate that with having an Inc. 5000 company. You just can't.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So,
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at when I said, "Have you ever thought about traveling and taking the family around?" And so that's what I was getting at. And so there's certain exposures. It's kind of like, to get to know people, even your family, you got to do things, and you get to know. When you do something different, you can learn something different. You get in a different situation.
100%.
Different exposures and things like that. It can't be all status quo.
Oh, no. I'm the opposite of status quo. Yeah. Again, people like us are usually aliens within our own family community, vertical. So it's the very opposite of status quo. If you do take Colby, I put it in the chat. If you want to put it in the show notes, I would be interested to see. I'm guessing you're an 8-9 quick start. 8-9, 8, maybe. Nah, I don't think you're a 10, but I would say an 8 or 9.
You got me intrigued now. So,
yeah.
Don't let anyone ever tell you can't sell.
Oh, so that's hilarious. Can I dovetail that?
Yeah.
So, people, I can't tell you how many people tell me that I'm a good salesperson, and I think I'm terrible at selling things.
Yeah.
Because like when you're a journalist, you don't sell anything. You're the buyer of the story. Like, it's your story, and then PR firms are coming to you begging you to do their story. And I'd just say no, because you're annoying me. So I'll just create it.
Yeah.
And then one of the chapters in the book is be the buyer. So I haven't done any outbound sales in years, just the buyer, the people that we want to hang out with. they pay our firms and stuff, but it's not selling anything. They're just very attracted to it, and then they invest in it. So, and I'm not a comfortable sales. I'm just not. I'd just rather hang out with the people that I want to hang out with.
Yeah. Well, regardless.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. My wife taught me how to say thank you. I didn't know how to do that until she's like, "You need to say thank you to people." I'm like, "Okay."
Did that? Well, thank her for that, by the way.
I do every day. The first thing I do every day is a grateful journal to her. What I'm thankful for her. Yeah.
How did that get started? The grateful.
Journal. Okay, great. And your brain, I love your brain, because you're like, how did that happen? How did that happen? Input. Context. I'm not like that, but I can chameleon to your brain here. But so there's another test called PRINT, PRINT. It's your unconscious motivators, and most great entrepreneurs, visionaries are 8-3s or 3-8s like me. So 8 is to be strong and self-reliant. 3 is to succeed and achieve. I would be shocked if you were not I'd be shocked if you were not an 8-3 or 3-8, but you never know. It's unconscious. So there's no overthinking, no overfeeling. There's just execute. Okay. So my wife is a 2-6. 2 is to be needed and appreciated. 6 is to feel safe and secure. So the most important thing for my wife is for someone to tell her that she's needed and appreciated. So the first thing I do every day is a grateful journal, write down what I'm thankful for her, the previous 24 hours. I very rarely actually show her that, but it gets me into the state of mind to remember to say thank you to her no matter what. So, because like someone says thank you to me, I don't care. There's those love languages, like,
right.
I'm 0.0 in gifts. I don't want to get, if there was a negative for gifts, don't give me anything. But for her, it's very important. So it's important to her. I love her. I'm going to say thank you to her.
Well, where I get into problems on this thing, like in the scoring, just to put this to bed, it's like someone's a 2, is a 6, is a 3, is a 5. I just go into meltdown, because I got,
interesting.
It's like, I just got to be, you know what I'm saying? It's like, he's got this, that, because what I'll do is when I see these scoring things, I start reanalyzing the damn things. It's like, I don't agree with that. And so
it's
hard.
Hilarious.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah. So here's what you are. So in PRINT, you're a doer and thinker. And so one of the PRINT scores is a 5. That's to be knowledgeable and smart. And the other one is 1, which is for everything to be perfect and right. So I can hear you. Yeah, that's what so you're probably like an 8-1, which fascinates me. I don't overthink anything. Execute. And then my wife's like, stop identifying people by numbers I don't want to see people as numbers. That's how I see
the thing is, I've spent 40 years training people, you know what I'm saying? And most of the time you're training people that are not, when they're learning something, you're not a genius. You're a dummy with a new subject. And it's kind of like, and the simpler, again, this goes back to the thing about Ed Roberts. The simpler you can explain it, the quicker they can get it. And so that's why I'm always pushing myself to look for quicker, simpler, better explanations to get to the point. Because otherwise you make a point, if they don't understand it, it doesn't stick.
Right. And I only talk to people that understand what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I don't talk to them. That's my point.
Right. And that's the whole thing of connecting. You made a connection and it stayed. But one last thing I'm curious about is how you got going on these mastermind, these coaching, high-level coaching type groups. Did you just do it so you could get into groups, kind of a fast track into groups that you would enjoy talking to, or more? And I don't think you went in for ideas or anything.
Nope. This is, man, your brain. I love it. I love your brain. So this is a hilarious story. So nothing to me is a cost. I've never thought of anything as a cost. It's always an investment. So if you look at, I guess, networking thing, whatever that is. So the first one I joined was $250. Then there was a $500. Then there was $1,000. Then there was a $2,000. Then there was a $10,000. And then there's 2 that are $25,000. Okay. So anyway, early on, I was talking to people that had no idea what I was talking about. Because they're small business owners, consultants, employees. And one of these people. I'll remember it was in a $500 room. And they're like, I had a lunch with them at a Whole Foods, and they're like, I don't understand anything you're talking about, but the owner of my company does. He would like to talk to you. I'm like, okay. So I talked to him. His name's Gary Klaben. He's a coach and strategic coach. Do you know Gary? Do you know him?
No.
Oh, he's a true. I mean, he's Rain Man genius in a good way. And he's like, well, you shouldn't be in these rooms. You need to be in 10,000 of your room. I'm like, okay. So I just wrote the check. So, and then I found at the 10,000 level, maybe 10% of the people could have conversations like this, but most were still cost small business. And then at the 25,000 level, not only can most people understand what I'm talking about, but I can learn at a very high level from them. And they've been in this world a lot longer than me. And then they can provide all the great ideas. And then more importantly, or if not as important, more important, they provide all the bad ideas of like, hey, I'm on my third marriage. I torched my family. I don't see my family. That's a bad idea. I'm not going to do that. So that's how my brain works.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, when you're in these groups, the thing that I've got, I've checked them out, but it's like go to a conference, get on this. And my schedule is like the last thing I want to do is get in a group with, I can't sit in a room and listen to somebody else talk anyway. And so go to a convention for 3 days with the Genius Network and look, I don't know. I get short circuited even thinking about, so
I get it.
So how do you interact into these groups?
Yeah, I do most of it virtually, and then strategic coach is the one I spend most of the time in. It's a 10-minute drive from my house. So most of those sessions are like 8 hours. I will stay until lunch and get out of there because I'm not sitting in a room for 8 hours. I can't do it. So, but then I'll go because it's so close, I just go all the time. But then I'll leave when I want to. That is how I do it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's just something. It's anything you can do to keep yourself motivated. But why do you keep doing it? Let's just say that. Why do you keep
what? No, no. My dad was 61 when I was born. Shut down. No, there's people are like, oh, are you gonna retire? I'm like, what are you talking about? I would
no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about why do you keep going to these groups?
Because it's people who understand what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Why would you live in a world where no one understands what you're talking about? That's a very lonely world. So I need to and it's the purpose of my life. So and that's where most of the great ideas, because I'm so low in ideation, come from. And, connecting superhero for every visionary who shares their stories with the world. I can be of great service to people like that.
And you can stay, what you're saying, it allows you to stay relevant, stay in the mix, have a fresh flow of ideas. I don't think I'm getting at why you continue to go there. Because the new people you meet, like let's go in the morning. Let's just say you're going to go to the next one of those things and you're going to stay till noon. What's going to happen from the time you get there till noon? Are you going to sit and listen to someone else talk? There's
breakouts and there's breakout groups and endless. Yeah, I'm endlessly fascinated by brains like that and being in a room with people like that.
Yeah. Well,
you're a one print. I mean, I can hear it. Everything needs to be perfect and right. I'm not like that. I just know that if I go somewhere, something great will happen in that type of room.
Yeah. Well, I am looking forward to seeing what comes next. You say, is there going to be a next book?
Well, there will be. What happens is I talk to enough people like you, and then maybe once a month I'll get a great one. Someone like you will say a great idea, and I'll write it down. When I get enough of those, I'll do a third book. But this one just came out. So,
you don't impress me as somebody who uses a ghostwriter.
No, I wrote this book, the latest one, in 16 days. Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there's no overthink. But it took 2 years to get the ideas because most ideas aren't great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, appreciate you hanging around, being patient. We had a little technical glitch. And,
that was awesome.
Anything that you want to, any last thing that you'd want to pass on to people as kind of summarizing this, or that we didn't cover?
Well, one, I do recommend taking Colby. That's the ultimate shortcut Two, I just keep making bigger investments to be in smaller rooms, but the people in those rooms are making bigger impacts. So bigger investment, smaller room, bigger impact. That allows me to spend biggest investment in smallest room, which is my family, where I can make the most impact. So it's the same formula.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure, Justin. Looking forward to talking down the road, and looking forward to seeing what other adventures you find yourself going into, and what stories from connecting these connections that you're helping to make around the world has got to yield. I don't know if that would be a book or something, but I'm sure that would be.
That's both books. That's what's in the books.
that's what's in the books. Okay,
yeah, right.
So, what a life, and an impact you're having, and I want to thank you for all the rest of us for charging forward and following your instincts and making such a strong stand for positive things. And because we need that in the world, Justin, and you're providing it. Thank you so much, man.
Winners conquer doubt.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Million Dollar Mastermind. If you felt there were any valuable takeaways from this episode, please take a minute and leave us a 5-star review. Your feedback is important and really helps us get the word out to a wider audience. Remember, we have a valuable webinar that is absolutely free. Register for it right now at weidelonwinning.com. Thanks for listening.